Hello and welcome to the replay of Panzer's Last Stand, BCS, the Operation Konrad 2 scenario, and on our January 7th first turn, 1945, just completed the 5th SS activation. Didn't get a second activation. A couple of things I boo-booed on, particularly was that I had used the infantry that was attacking also as an assist, and you can't do that. When you assist, it's as if you attacked, you're finished for the turn. For two of the attacks here, I could have used the Panzer units. That was no problem. So I'd do that in that case. But for the Pioneers over here, there wasn't an available unit. So therefore that would have been an unassisted attack and wouldn't have had one of the +1s. With that attack, we actually got a D2 on one of the Guards units. It would have been a D1 without that. So I'm just going to actually give them back a step. I believe it was these guys. So they now have 2 steps left. Also, if I was using the Panzer unit as assists, then they could actually also advance after combat. So these could actually go there. So that's the sort of corrections we need to do. And now we can move on to work out who's activating next. So looking at the activation display here, so 5th SS Panzer is now done. 62nd Guard has been put into the unused spoil box here in tier 2. And now we have to decide between 711th and 18th Tank Corps which chit is going to be picked next. I think what I'm going to do is do on a dice roll. So 1 to 3, 711th Division, and 4 to 6, 18th Tank Corps. Let's just roll that. And it was a 2, so 1 to 3 was 711th Division, so the Germans activate again, and they're activating before the 18th Tank Corps. So looking at the whole map here, where is the 711th Division? Well, it's all grouped around here, and we're probably going to be looking at advancing down this road almost exclusively. I think we'll leave this area to the 96th, and 96th is up here as well. So this is where we'll try and get through. It's not great terrain, but there's not a lot of forces to oppose. So with the 711th Division, it's nicely grouped for the attack. There's actually been a little bit of pre-combat here. There's a step loss here and a step loss here, which has obviously happened. Bad news is there's no armour support here for the 711th. It does have these Hetzers here, which are in support at the moment, providing red support, so that does provide help in attack, but there's no way to strip support from the 10th Guard units, and there's quite a lot of support sitting there, so we're just going to have to bust through that, I think. The alternative would be to actually turn this Hetzer unit into a real unit, but that would turn it into limited support, so it still wouldn't be that great. It would also reduce the value to 2, so it's better where it is, really. So we're just going to have to get the infantry to do the hard work here. However, there's only one unit here, and the 10th Guards is quite split out, so it is over here, and there's a regiment here, and then we have this regiment sort of spread out here. So it does look a little bit vulnerable, although the terrain is pretty horrendous. Also not a great, we don't have any extra artillery support. We've just got the inherent 711th Infantry 3 spots as well. As far as the preparation goes, we have no desire for it to be in prepared defence. The combat trains are here, formed correctly. There is a main supply route, nothing, and there's the mixing, because the 96th is around here, by scenario has said that this is not a mixed formation, so therefore we can ignore that. We're not doing recovery, of course, and so therefore we just go on with the snafu roll. So with the snafu roll, of course, we've got 2d6. We need to have a look and see if there is any modifiers for us to play with. So looking at the table of modifiers, we aren't fresh. There is no coordination marker, and we are at fatigue 0. We're not mixed, and as we are a tier 1 primary, the snafu die roll modifier from our activation chart is 0. Just looking at the MSR, we are at optimal distance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, from the trains to the HQ. They're not ghosted, they're not flipped over, and we aren't crossing the streams as the 96th runs down here, so we're good. And we're not using any tracks, these are standard roads, so not a problem there as well. So the only thing that really affects it is optimal distance, which gives us a +1, and that's the only modifier we have for the snafu roll. So taking that +1, and we'll roll the dice and see what we get. We get a 6. Ooh, that's very close. A +1 on top of that is a 7, which is just enough, as you can see, for a full activation, which is what we were looking for. And so we have our objective markers. There's not really a lot of targets here, so I think we are going to put a double objective marker onto this unit here, because I don't think we're going to get to anyone in this turn other than that. So once we've had that double objective marker, we now can conduct our movement and combat activities here. So first, I think what we'll do is we'll try and move up this flank. So here, moving up the 744th Regiment here, these 3 units. This for leg counts as 3 movement points. That's forest for 2 plus 1 for the slope. This would be a 3 and 4 for rolling. Here we would move this a half and 3.5 to there, and follow up here with the reserve battalion. We could do a 1 and 4 to there. We also have the 731st Regiment here, some Fusiliers, and also some Pioneers. Now they're all pretty much a muchness. They're all 3 action rating, so they're all as good as each other. And so we'll just move these forward. So forest is 2, and slope is, rolling is 1, slope is +1. So that's 2 and 4 for forest. And again, we can move forward here with, we've got 2 units under here, haven't we? Yes, the rest of the 731st. So the Pioneers will follow up again on this road. Just thinking we may stack them on here. I'm a bit wary of the amount of artillery that the 10th Guards has, so I don't really want to stack if I can possibly help it. But we are pretty good there, I think. We're going to do an assault, of course, and this will be done by the 2nd Battalion of the 731st Regiment here, and is assisted by the 1st. So we need to look at that combat and the modifiers involved. So the combat table modifiers which are relevant, just update with our artillery here. The unit here is supported by the Hetzers. So with the actuator of 3, that becomes a +1 to 4. This is a double objective zone and the 2 hexes around it. So that becomes a 5. We will be using a suppression mission. So 1 spot to do that. That's a 7. And we will have an assist from the 1st. So that, I believe, is an 8. So in defence, we have the 3rd Regiment, or 3rd Battalion of the 99th Regiment here. It does have red support. Actually, it's only got limited support, but that's good enough in defence. You don't need the red support in defence, but you do need it in attack. So action rating of 3, +1, 4. It's not in a prepared defence, but it is in terrain. Of course, it's in rolling. So that's a 5. And there's no hexside terrain. That's pretty much it. So 5, so an 8 versus 5 gives us a +3 on the dice. Oh, we've got a terrible roll here. We've got a 3. A 3 plus 3 is a 6. A 6 is pretty much a failure on the attack. It's one loss for the attacker, and that's it. Nothing else happens. So we need to add a step loss to the second. So that's down to 4 steps. And, well, that didn't work, did it? We've really got nothing else to do for the division, so that's pretty much ending the activation. So we remove our double objective marker. Yeah, I think we'll roll our fatigue. So fatigue is, as per the table, because we've done an assault, it's a 1 to 3. And we got a 5, so no fatigue increase. And at that point, we would see if we can have a second activation, because it is a primary activation, tier 1 activation. Looking at the HQ, which I forgot to turn over, it has a 5 or a 6 for a second activation. Let's roll for that. And we have a 1, so definitely not. So that 7/11 is over. So with the Germans having their 2 primary activations, which are the only formations that would have a second activation, both of them have failed. But there you go, that's the 7/11 activation. Our next activation will of course be the remaining tier 1 formation, which is the Soviets' 18th Tank Corps. So I'll do that on the next video, but until then, bye for now.